Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem for some of you releases soon, or heck, maybe it's already out. For the NZ crowd though, we have to wait until September and I'm trying not to think too much about it. In the meantime though, let's review some of those LEGO Ninja Turtles sets. One of my favourite LEGO themes that I think is incredibly underrated. Over the next few weeks, be sure to stick around for my coverage over a plethora of sets from both the cartoon and the movie. Now here is a LEGO Ninja Turtles set that I think everyone had on their mind of getting, and it is one that I really love, but I also think that it was beaten. This is the Turtle Lair Attack, which retailed for 100 NZD when it released in 2013, a price point that I was actually pretty surprised by if I'm honest. Sealed, it's currently worth around 250 NZD, I got mine last year for apparently $130 odd. I remember it being a much better deal than that actually, so that kinda sucks. The set overview is pretty cool actually. You get two turtles and their main base of operations. We have a hangout area, a training area, and some floors that feature workshop areas. I like some of what the set offers, I do have some complaints, let's get into it. Now the first few bags actually had you building all of the extras and add-ons, so we'll take a look at those first before we move on to the actual structure of the build. So here we have all of these little extras, and there's quite a few to get into. They do make for a really cool ensemble altogether, and they really bring the set alive. A skateboard ramp, each turtle has their own skateboards featured in at least one set, as I've mentioned, so you can have them all interact with this here. A catapult, which is used to fling either enemies or turtles or old rats into battle. This is a rotating training dummy in the shape of Shredder, even has the Shredder helmet in that scary brown that breaks. In fact, actually looking at it, this entire build here is prone to breakage. We've got dark red hues, reddish brown, and gold. It's just an accident waiting to happen in the future, I swear. A flat screen TV with turtle seats. This is apparently supposed to be a video game depicted on the screen, but there are no controllers included, and they're definitely not using the Kinect sensor. These seats here are color-coded so you can have the respective turtle where they belong. Now these are the items that are found on the first floor of the lair. This shelf features some ooze and I believe some spray paint cans. The workshop bench is actually really cool. It has a monitor, maybe some form of a light, and a green clamp for holding onto equipment. For the next floor we've got a swinging hook with tools located on that rack, and we have the skateboard display that can hold all 4 skateboards scattered across the sets. This can easily be assembled back onto the build. If you wanted, you could even mix and match for some different designs. I do like that inclusion here. We'll disconnect the set from the wall here so that we can make things run a little bit smoother. This is the training area, which features the most amount of nature, I think, across all sets from the line. It's quite zen, and it feels very at home with the line. I'm assuming that this is this room here featured in the show, which feels pretty accurate actually. Removing that Shredder dummy, I can show you the ooze that's been spilled out onto the ground. It's pretty cool. There's more ooze decor on the other areas of the set as well. These two parts are used to resemble dripping, which I think is really funny. It's an antenna piece and a lightsaber piece, and there are some studs at the bottom to show ooze pooling up. I think that effect actually works really well. I like the contrast of the tree versus the sewer builds of the underground Manhattan, and call me crazy, but I think I'm conditioned to liking this build structure because it reminds me of the Indiana Jones Lost Tomb set. It's literally just because of the square shaping. I do really dig it. The back here features a little sewer grate, which is a secret entrance into the lair, or it's a secret escape depending on how you want to play. A figure can fit through this little hole to help the imagination flow a little. Moving on to the actual main build, it's pretty tall, and the building and playsets are quite rare for the Ninja Turtles line. There were only 4 location-based playsets total across the entire wave, would you believe it? The first floor here is Donatello's lab, which features those builds of the working bench and the shelf with spray paint cans. There's a sticker at the back here which features the turtle blimp, some communicators, and the party van, or in this iteration, the shell raiser, as I believe it's called. It's a necessary inclusion, obviously, and I'm glad it's here, but it's just funny to me to include Donatello's lab and no Donatello. The side parts feature some sewer and underground stickered designs. You can see more ooze dripping on these sides as well. More on the other side and some more ooze. I really love the set dressing that the set has. A spiral staircase that uses the Harry Potter Hogwarts technique. For me, it's just way too silly. The turtles have to moon jump their way to the very top. Splinter is so old, there's just no way that you're going to be able to convince me that this is a usable feature for him. Behind Donatello's lab is a wall with a play feature here. You're supposed to take the dynamite from the foot soldiers and use it to blow up the wall. Really, that gimmick isn't necessary, and the wall will blow down just fine if I use my finger, but the added step does make for a fun role-playing gimmick that I'm sure kids just really enjoyed. The top layer here doesn't have too much in the background. This is where the hook and skateboards are though, but we do also have a pizza oven because it's the Ninja Turtles. There's going to be pizza. The pizza oven has a switch at the back here where you can fire the pizzas out at some unsuspecting intruders, or at the brothers if you want. The pizza is the exact same pizza piece that's used in other sets, but by simply adding the smooth piece on the bottom, it just made it so much better for me. There is a ladder in this room that leads to the roof, and this is where we get some perspective techniques. This is supposed to be the Manhattan build of a small street. It's very minimal, and it leads to a manhole cover that leads to the turtle's home. I always appreciate these builds for the effort, but this kind of design never really works for me. You can see my Avatar Reef Home review for more details on why this doesn't really work for me. There's a graffiti wall here, cool design with a pole that's used for some swinging. I have Donatello here to demonstrate for us. The manhole can also open up, kind of. More of the ground that the manhole actually sits on can open up, which I think is kind of a cheap trick. An actual manhole design probably wasn't realistic enough though for LEGO. You can send the foot soldier flying and then Donnie can leap back into safety of his home. So this is Raphael. He's one of 2 Ninja Turtles featured in the set. I talked about Raph before in the Baxter Stockman set review. Here he features the exact same design and details as the other Raphael figures, but his expression is pretty unique. He has gritted teeth and an angry expression instead of a closed mouth and an angry expression. Raphael actually does feature a variant smiling in one other set, which is more than what I can say about some of the other turtles. This is Leonardo, who uses similar pieces to Donatello. He and Donnie use the shell with the 2 straps as opposed to their brother's single strap. Leo has a stern, serious expression, a little bit different from the growls that he expresses in other sets. I've mentioned before, but the turtles all use the exact same head molds and shell parts. You're really getting the same figure each time, but with different paint. Splinter was the really cool exclusive figure here. I really did think that Shredder would be the Ninja Turtle Lair exclusive figure, but Splinter works just as well actually. He does use the very scary reddish brown colouring for his torso and the dress piece, meaning, I swear to you, he will break years from now if I am not careful, so these arms are never going to be moved. His head is a very special mold that's just made for him, and I believe the movie sets would reuse this head, even though it's not very accurate to that movie's design. It's a rubber, but it's a very solid rubber. Splinter in the show is taller than the turtles by quite a large margin, so his appearance here is accurate in that dress piece. This is the Dark Ninja figure, which has always confused me. This is Chris Bradford, one of Shredder's henchmen, and he also appears in the Shellraiser set as the Dog Pound specialized figure. This is his human form before he is mutated. I would really love to know what the process was of not naming him by his name. In the show, he never once wears a mask, and I don't think he goes by the alias of Dark Ninja. I wish the figure included a hairpiece, but I'll try to find my own replacement one instead. The idea of him being true to the source material is significantly more appealing to me than just this Dark Ninja. I like his ninja garb's prints and his sleeveless look, which actually means that unlike Splinter, he's not going to break later on in life. Underneath the mask, he has some extreme details for a minifigure that is unnamed. He's got these milky white eyes and a beard, another Clancy Brown minifigure to add to the collection. This is the Foot Soldier minifigure. He is the same one that appeared in the Shredder's Bike set. I've mentioned before that these guys appear in 6 sets in total. This was the Army Builder figure that was tossed into everything. They are cool to get if you can get a few of them, but they are the least exciting figure of the line. I wish we had a bit more variety with them, like a battle damaged look for example. Instructions for the set, green theming on the inside, and some nice renders of the set all finished. There's some shots of the play features that we went over here, and a big display image of the set complete. The back shows the wave in its entirety. Some really fun sets released during this wave. There's a full page poster on the next page advertising the theme, and then a minifigure roster, which they used to do for a lot of the themes if I remember correctly. I hadn't really realized until making these videos this year that they've stopped doing this. Max greets us as always, and then we have a short comic strip that shows the story of the set and tells you to check out the website. It's a little tricky to determine how accurate this set is or not. The other toy lines that make turtle lairs also take their own creative liberties, so I have no doubt that this LEGO set also follows suit on that, but I do like the overall design. I wish the shaping was a little bit more accurate though. It feels pretty iconic to me that the turtles will always have a circular hangout space in the middle of their lair, and to not have that is single-handedly for me what's missing from my ideal design. Whether it looks like a training dojo like most of those Ninjago sets, or a TV lounge from my own personal favorite iteration of the Ninja Turtles, a tall wall just doesn't quite sell that lair's design for me. For what it is though, I do appreciate that cartoonish stylization, and I'm glad that we at least got some turtle playsets overall. If you enjoyed this retrospective LEGO Ninja Turtles review, stick around over the month for more videos around this line. Liking and subscribing does help to support this channel, and as always, take care.